Hi guys, this is Daryl and welcome back to Book Odyssey. Today I'm going to be expressing a few thoughts on the upcoming Dune movie and, more specifically, what it needs to not do. So I am a massive fan of Dune. If you watch my videos regularly, then you'll probably know that already. I'm such a big fan, in fact, that I've successfully managed to never see the 1984 adaptation because of the negative reviews it received. I simply do not want to undermine this fantastic story with less than pristine work. But there's a buzz around the upcoming adaptation, due to be released in October, that makes me believe, or hope, let's call it hope, that it will do justice to one of the best-selling books of all time and won't leave me wanting to pull out my own eyes. Notice here how I've called it an adaptation and not a reboot, the way some have described it. I'm flat out not calling it a reboot because I've had bad experiences with reboots recently in the form of Buffy the Vampire Slayer graphic novel and Charmed. So with that in mind, I wanted to let you guys know the 5 worst possible things I think this Dune adaptation could do to ruin this film and thereby cause me to lose all faith in modern cinema for all time. So the number 1 is, please, Dune, please do not be Star Wars. I'm going to tell you guys something now that you'll either get or you'll completely slate me for. I don't like Star Wars. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not. I think it's repetitive, overly formulaic, and I honestly just don't get the storyline. There's too much action and not enough setup, and I generally think the film's dumbed down sci-fi. So when I say to Dune, please don't be Star Wars, I mean, please don't be all of those things. But I say this for a reason, because Dune apparently served as a reference point for Star Wars years before the George Lucas franchise was even a concept. In early drafts of Star Wars, this story of a desert planet, an evil emperor, and a boy with a galactic destiny also included warring noble houses and a princess guarding a shipment of something called Aura Spice. All manner of concepts from Dune litter the Star Wars universe, from the Bene Gesserit-like mental powers of the Jedi to the mining and moisture farming of Tatooine. But I'll admit there's a reason Star Wars is a massively successful cinematic opera, while Dune adaptations have been criticised as It's because Star Wars is easy to translate to the big screen. You have some ships flying around space, some explosions, a couple of traps, and an asthmatic bad guy in a completely impractical helmet, and you're set. Whereas Dune, apparently, it's a little tougher. According to the director of the upcoming film, Denis Villeneuve, adapting Dune for the big screen has been a lifelong dream ever since he read the novel when he was 12 years old. He said he wanted to make a faithful adaptation, which I'll admit fills me with joy. He admits his plans are quite ambitious, and he reportedly said he hopes to make it the Star Wars he never saw. In an interview, he explained that most of the main ideas of Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope came from Dune, so it will be a challenge to take on this project. Villeneuve even said, in a way, it's Star Wars for adults. To this I say, Villeneuve, no, it's not. Number 2, don't undervalue Jessica. Jessica, Paul's mother, was for me one of, if not the, most enthralling and important characters in Dune. What I would hate for the new Dune adaptation to do is undervalue and misrepresent this phenomenally important character. Like her son, she is the product of centuries of genetic breeding by the Bene Gesserit, an ancient school that teaches women how to develop almost superhuman mental and physical abilities. Throughout the novel, we see her struggles to maintain power in a male-dominated society and how she manages to help her son at key moments in his own realization of power. She is the pillar of strength that is always there to guide Paul, and this makes her one of the most important characters in the book. She shows a ferocious love and protectiveness for her son, which is both awe-inspiring and endearing. I love strong female characters in stories, and a lot of today's sci-fi is often sparse in older female characters taking a lead. So even though Dune was written during the 60s, this character felt and still feels fresh to me. Jessica in the book is in her mid-40s, and while I'm a fan of the actress Rebecca Ferguson, who will play her in the upcoming film, I do wonder why they cast someone who is 10 years younger than this wise and mature character. According to an interview with Villeneuve, it seems the director says he understands Jessica's importance and has apparently, quote, expanded her role in the film, whatever that means. I didn't want Lady Jessica to be an expensive character, Villeneuve told Empire magazine. Something I deeply love in the books is that there is a strong balance between the masculine power and feminine power. To, quote, lean more strongly into the feminine power of the book, Villeneuve has apparently turned Lady Jessica into more of a warrior priestess, who is as much a mother to Paul as she is his defender and trainer. It will be interesting to see how the warrior priestess Lady Jessica stacks up against Herbert's character when, in the book, she comes across as one of the most capable and powerful characters without ever needing to pick up a sword. For me, feminine strength doesn't necessarily mean make her a warrior. It seems a bit on the nose, but I guess we'll see. One thing I need this film to do, however, is not underplay this phenomenal character. Number 3, don't dumb it down. We've all been exposed to films adapted from books that, for some reason, someone somewhere decided what the world really needed was for them to be dumbed down for cinema audiences, replacing political intrigue with a raft of explosions and complex characterization with I reference films like The Dark Tower, Ender's Game, and Annihilation, just to name a few, to me that quite didn't capture the complexity of the books. I think it comes back to the whole don't be Star Wars thing. This film needs to treat its characters as fully realised and three-dimensional, the good and the bad. I certainly don't need Paul to be an out-of-the-box hero on a hero's journey. No, in my opinion, Dune is not about a simple hero's journey. There's a large coming-of-age aspect to it that does need to come through, but it's larger than that, and its scale has a lot to do with the depth of the characters, the sheer expanse of the history, and the colossal themes that it explores. To do this film justice, these aspects need to be preserved sacredly. I genuinely hope that Villeneuve is the right person to do this. It certainly gives me confidence when I look at his credentials with films like Blade Runner 2049 and Arrival, which was highly cerebral. I just hope Warner Brothers and Legendary aren't simply looking to make this a disposable moneymaker, because I need layers. What worries me a little is that while Dune will be split into 2 parts, which in my opinion is correct and needed, at the time of filming this, it hasn't yet been announced that the second part has been greenlit, which makes me wonder if it might be setting itself up to be another Golden Compass. Number 4, don't treat Cheney as just a love interest. So I read a Screen Rant interview recently with the actress Zendaya that plays the Fremen Cheney in the film, and the website referred to Cheney as, quote, Paul's love interest, something I've seen a few articles do, which I guess isn't technically wrong, but it irked me a little bit. Yes, people, I said irked. So firstly, this got my back up a little bit because this website had reduced what is essentially a complex and multi-layered character that has many influences on the story down to simply serving as Paul's love interest. Now that's not to say there isn't a real and deserving romance plot in there that should be included and explored on camera, but I wouldn't want it to be reduced down to this because, in my opinion, Dune is more. But also, and arguably very contradictory, I also wouldn't want Paul and Cheney's relationship to be simplified because of this either. In an interview with InStyle magazine, Zendaya said she was surprised to feature so much in the trailer because she doesn't have much of a part in the film. Now, pushing all my knee-jerk horror at this statement aside, this doesn't mean that they will underutilise this character, at least I hope it doesn't. It just means the majority of Cheney will be seen in part 2, assuming we get one. Number 5, don't over-franchise it. As well as the big budget sci-fi extravaganza that the Dune film will hopefully live up to being, it's been confirmed that there will be a prequel spin-off series called Dune Sisterhood. Apparently the source material will be the 2012 novel Sisterhood of Dune. It was first announced in 2019 and will focus on the Bene Gesserit, will serve as the prequel to the film, and was reportedly supposed to begin filming in November 2020 in Budapest and Jordan. Villeneuve will direct the series pilot as well as be the executive producer of the entire series. The show will air on HBO Max, as might the first film, which caused all kinds of reactions and led Villeneuve to stating that the studio might have just killed the Dune franchise and that streaming can produce great content but not movies of Dune's scope and scale. He reportedly feared that releasing the film by the streaming service, Dune won't have the chance to perform financially in order for a sequel to be viable, and that piracy will ultimately triumph. He said, "My team and I devoted more than 3 years of our lives to make it a unique big screen experience. Our movie's image and sound were meticulously designed to be seen in theatres. Whatever Dune eventually ends up looking like, for the sake of my sanity, I need there to be a part 2. Otherwise, it will be like opening a door that we never get to close. Ever." I'm also really excited about the TV show, and if it's done well could lead to a fantastic series in its own right. But even still, with Villeneuve stating that the studio might have just killed off the Dune franchise, focus on the word franchise made me wonder what else might be in store for the Duneverse. I suddenly realised what a massive franchise this has the potential of becoming, and I got excited. Then, suddenly I had Star Wars pop into my head again, and all that came tumbling down on me in endless sequels, formulaic writing, and paper-thin characters. Star Wars is probably one of the most franchised science fiction universes in history, but that doesn't make it good. What it makes is a money maker, and when something makes money, it gets bigger. And when it gets bigger, it makes more money, and more people are hired to work on it. Suddenly, much more is riding on the fact that a whole ecosystem of people need what they're putting out there to do well financially, whether that's TV, films, books, games, graphic novels, whatever. And when so much is riding on its financial success, suddenly you get carbon copy reproductions of what was proven to work before, and all the risk-taking and artistic integrity is sucked out of it. Okay, so I realise I'm both generalising and being a bit melodramatic, but my point is franchising doesn't always guarantee awesome quality entertainment. It just means more opportunities for it to be mediocre. Like Star Wars. So those are the 5 things the Dune film should not do, in my opinion. I'd love to know your thoughts about the upcoming film in the comments, and how you think it will stack up against the book. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time guys, happy reading.